Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. This recipe is a remake of one of my very first videos. I hope to bring it to the forefront and make it easier to follow. And in doing this, I hope that we give this recipe the attention that it seriously deserves. This shows how to make the flaky crust as well as the filling. This is one delicious pie, and definitely one of my favorites for sure. So let's get started on how to make butterscotch pie with a chocolate hazelnut base. So take a medium-sized saucepan and add 1/4 cup of butter and turn your heat on medium-high. Then add 1 cup of 1% milk. Then add 1 cup of table cream. Let that start to warm up a little bit. Then you take 2 egg yolks and beat them in a small little dish like this, and add a little bit of the hot mixture to it. Beat it really well and then add it back to the milk mixture. There's a lot of stirring involved, so use your large spoon and stir it quite rigorously. This keeps your mixture from lumping up on you. Then add 1 cup of brown sugar. Again, stirring this in really well. You can turn your heat down a little bit at this point too, to more of a medium heat. Then add 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and continue stirring. Now take 2½ tablespoons of cornstarch mixed with some cold water just to make it smooth, and then you add it slowly to your hot mixture, stirring constantly. Remember to just add little bits at a time, because if you add too much at once, it'll lump up on you. Now this is where I'm using the whisk because it'll help it mix through and make your mixture really smooth. So it's starting to look really good here. It's thickening up quite well, and this is how it should look. So you can remove it from the heat at this point and pour it into a bowl to cool down. Now to prevent the film from forming on the top of the pudding as it cools, pour the pudding into the bowl and press a piece of wax paper or plastic wrap on top of the pudding. Now set that aside and we'll go on to making the flaky pie crust. Take your large mixing bowl and add 5½ cups of all-purpose flour. And then add 2 teaspoons of salt. Now then add 1 pound of lard. This is where you really appreciate a large mixer. You let it do the work for you. Now this is where you mix it until it forms a dough and it doesn't look like you need to add any more liquid to it. Just like this looks here. Then take a large egg and crack it into the measuring cup. And add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar to that. Then pour cold water in to fill it up to the 1 cup level. Now take a fork and mix that together really well. Then pour that into your dough mixture. Now mix that gently just until it's incorporated. It will be a little bit soft and tacky at this point, but you don't want to overmix it. You'll pour it out onto a floured board, and then you'll knead it lightly with a little bit of flour until it becomes a consistency that you can roll it out. Then take your dough and roll it into a round shape to fit a 9-inch pie plate. And your dough should be about 1/4 inch thick and of the consistency that you can pick it up. So then take and flip it over on itself like this. Place it into your pie plate. And then start shaping it to fit the pie plate, just lifting the edges gently like this. Never stretch your dough, because if you stretch the dough, you have a higher chance of shrinkage. Then take and trim the edges off like this, and take a fork and pick holes in the bottom and the sides. Then I use pie weights because I find that really helps also to keep your pie crust from shrinking. And most kitchen stores sell these. And you can place it in a 425-degree oven for about 10 minutes or until it's golden brown. Then when you remove it from the oven and the pie shell's cooled off a bit, add some hazelnut spread to the bottom of the pie crust. This is a chocolate hazelnut spread, And you only need about maybe half a cup. You just want enough to cover the bottom nicely. And you can buy this at any grocery store. And if you're concerned about nut allergies, you can just use straight chocolate spread instead. Then you take your butterscotch filling. It should be cooled off by now. It must be cool so it doesn't melt the chocolate. And you pour it in on top of that. Then you take a spoon and spread it around so it's nice and even like this. Then take about 2 cups of real whipping cream and beat that with your hand mixer until it's stiff and it forms soft peaks. Then I use 2/3 of a cup of icing sugar to sweeten it, and I just mix that until it's incorporated. Then pour that on top of your pie and spread it out evenly. Then I take a good bar of milk chocolate and shave it with a potato peeler till I get little pieces like this. Then I sprinkle that over top of the whipped cream to cover the whole pie. And once you have it covered with all the chocolate pieces, you take it and place it in the fridge until it's set. And in order for it to set properly, it will take a few hours in the fridge. Now I like to make it up quite a few hours ahead of when I need it, like I'll make it in the morning if I want it for supper. That way it'll set properly and you'll be able to see all the layers, and it will just be such a better presentation. And when you cut it and go to serve it, it won't fall apart on you, it'll hold together nicely. Now if you want a piece, you have to get it right away because it goes really quickly. This pie is really worth the time it takes to make it, and I'm pretty sure you'll love it. And thanks so much for watching.